mean, she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke.
So if you've read the title by now, clearly you understand what I'm going to be talking about. I dated a gold digger. Now, guys, before you get triggered or anything, okay, gold digger, it might not be the best word to describe the type of person that I dated. However, I think, right now in terms of vocabulary, I think it is the closest definition of what I would describe as this girl. In Korean, we actually have a term from this, and we call it like a kimchi yoja or a kimchi girl, or we call it a yeol, which means, fox. And basically what that means is it's not as strong, I guess, as gold digger like that we would use in America, but it kind of has a similar meaning, and it basically means, it's a girl who wants to date you because of materialistic things that you could give to her, or maybe she can use you in some way. So I mean, yeah, I guess that's pretty much a gold digger, am I right? So yeah, just saying, sorry if the title is not exactly what it should be, but I think that's close enough to what I'll explain happened to me and who this girl was to me after all. So let's go back in time 2 years ago when I first moved to South Korea. I was brand new to the country. I had just left my whole life behind me, to start something new and to experience new adventures and to go where okay, what is this, Star Trek? Okay, Terry, calm down. But you guys know what I mean, okay? I was fresh off the boat in South Korea. I had no friends. I arrived literally, the first day of April. That's when I started working, and that's when I, arrived. And it was your classic, culture shock experience. I was amazed to see, this working city, people running around, everything's in a foreign language, and the shock value was incredible. I was, having a blast, and the first couple of days, that was still kind of sinking in. A couple days go by, and I've just, worked, and I haven't really done anything interesting or excited. And one day, after working, I think it was the weekend, I decided to go out and go clothes shopping, okay? Because when I got to Korea from Pittsburgh, back in America, dude, my fashion sense was so far behind than what people in Korea, are wearing these days. So yeah, basically I went out to the store and I wanted to, get some new pants or something. I don't know what I was shopping for, but I was looking around and I was looking at this pair of jeans that I thought looked really nice, and it had this sign on it, and at that time my Korean wasn't good enough to figure out what it meant. I wasn't sure if the sale meant you have to buy these pants as well as something else, or if it meant I could just buy the pants and it would be on sale then. And while I was struggling to, read this sign, some girl came up to me and she asked me, "Hey, are you having trouble reading that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just, I can't figure out if it means, oh, you speak English." I realized it was this really cute looking Korean girl was speaking to me. I was surprised because for like the whole week that I've been living here so far, everyone around me didn't speak English. Now granted, guys, I did not live in Seoul at the time, okay? I live in Seoul now, which is the capital of South Korea. In Seoul, dude, like so many Koreans, speak even just a little bit of English, so it's pretty easy to get your point across. But back then, I was living in Gimhae, dude. I was living right outside of Busan, which is the second biggest city, so I wasn't even living in like a major metropolitan area, okay? I was living in Gimhae, which is kind of like the countryside in a way. It's just like a really small town. But yeah, anyway, so this girl asked me if I needed help, and she spoke perfect English, and I thought this was like really cool, and she even had like a charming English accent. She was pretty easy on the eyes as well. So then she, casually explained what the sign actually meant and what the sale actually meant, and I was like, "Wow, thank you so much, thanks for the help." And she asked me, "So are you new in Korea?" And I was like, "I got here, a little less than a week ago, I'm a teacher here." And she was like, "Oh wow, that's so cool, so you're a teacher, wow." And then guys, like the craziest thing happened, okay? This girl who's like really cute, has a very charming accent, speaks fluent English, I feel like I could, actually communicate with her versus, all the other local natives around me. She asked me then, "Hey, well, why don't you come to Busan, sometimes, it's just a quick bus ride over there. I'm actually a student at Busan-dae, which is, the biggest college in Busan." And she said, "Come on over, I'll show you around." Dude, I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. I tried to be as least awkward as I can, but we exchanged contact information. I got her phone number and I got her Kakao Talk, which is, messenger app so we can communicate better. And dude, when I went home that night, I was so happy and so excited. I was like a little schoolboy, with a crush. I felt on top of the world, and it's for like a number of like little reasons, because dude, I was in a foreign country. Well, I mean, I still am, but I was in a foreign country. I didn't know anybody. I really didn't have any friends. And the last thing I expected was to meet someone that I thought I could like. I felt super lucky, you know, I felt like the luckiest guy in Korea, or at least the luckiest foreigner. So, you know, the next couple of days went by. I asked my coworker, hey, you know, we live in Gimhae, that's just a short bus ride to Busan, right? And she was like, yeah, you can get there. There's a bus you can take, you know, go over here, you can take the bus. It's like a 20 or 30 minute ride over there. So you know, the next weekend, it was like Friday, I took the bus over and I met that girl. And, you know, for privacy's sake, we're just gonna call her Sarah, okay? I'm not gonna reveal any personal information. I don't think that's appropriate. So I decided to meet Sarah, and I met her outside of Busan-dae. She said hello to me, you know, it's nice to see you again. Are you hungry? Let's go get some dinner. And dude, honestly, I was starving because I got so lost. I got there okay taking the bus, but then I didn't really understand how to use the subway system because in the city that I lived in, which was Gimhae, which is really small compared to Busan, yeah, there's like no subway system, okay? So I didn't really understand how to use the Korean subway system, and I got a little bit lost. I ended up taking a taxi to meet her. So dude, I was like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours late meeting her, and she was starving, I was starving, so we quickly went to a restaurant. We got a lot of samgyeopsal, you know, to eat, and dude, it was a really fun time for me. You know, I was having a blast. That night, you know, there was a lot of first times for me. You know, it was my first time having samgyeopsal, which is, you know, pork belly dish, you know, very, very popular dish in South Korea. She showed me how to drink soju. She showed me how to drink mekju. She showed me how to drink somek, and that's mekju and soju put together. By the way, if you don't know what those mean, soju is like a really popular type of alcohol that you can drink, and mekju is just beer. So she showed me how to drink the alcohol with the beer. She showed me how to mix them. She showed me, you know, like little tricks and how to mix and how to do all these really cool things with alcohol. And yeah, dinner was great. You know, we were connecting on every level. And, you know, as a gentleman, I wanted to pay for the bill. You know, it was the first date or so. And I just wanted to show her that, you know, I'm a gentleman and, you know, I care about you and I want to take care of this. So I paid the bill for dinner, and after that we got second round and we had makgeolli. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's Korean rice wine, and it's, dude, it sounds like I was drinking a lot, and I was drinking a lot this night, okay? But yeah, so we had some makgeolli, and it's not as strong as soju, but you know, it's very sweet. You got to be careful when you're drinking it because it's so sweet. You might drink a lot and get more drunk than you think. You know, and after we had some makgeolli, you know, I paid for that as well. You know, I told her I would take care of everything tonight, courtesy of me being like 2 hours late to meeting you. So I said, you know, don't worry about anything, I'll take care of it tonight. So after that, we went to a karaoke, and again, my first time in a noraebang, which is a Korean karaoke. After we got there, we sang a bunch of songs, and it's actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be, you know, hanging out with a beautiful girl, singing really cool songs. She was singing some Korean songs, she sang some English songs. I, you know, kind of don't know any Korean songs, so I just sang some English songs with her. And you know, the whole vibe of the thing was very romantic, you know, because she sang some love songs in Korean. Maybe it was a little bit because we drank a little bit, maybe it was just the vibe, maybe it was the fact that, you know, I thought I really liked this girl, but you know, we ended up kissing, you know, in the noraebang that night. And yeah, I probably shouldn't have, because I mean, it was the first date, but so yeah, we kissed that night, and I thought, wow, you know, like I really like this girl and I want to invest in this relationship. So yeah, when the night was over, you know, we said our goodbyes, and I said, okay, well, I'll be sure to come back to Busan next week and I'll see you then. She's like, okay, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully our next date will be even more fun than this. And you know, I was saying to myself, oh geez, I don't know if we can top this. I mean, tonight was awesome. So I went home, I got a good night's sleep. You know, I powered through my work that week. I didn't really, you know, think about making friends or, you know, doing anything because I was so focused on this girl, you know, and I haven't really been in a lot of relationships throughout my life, and I thought maybe this could be something special. So the next week went by, and it was the weekend, and I took the bus over to Busan and I saw her, and dude, we had another great date. I met up with her for lunch, and then we hung out afterwards, then we saw a movie. And you know, again, you know, I ended up paying for the bill, and I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, you know, I don't mind paying for it again, and she actually said, oh yeah, would you mind paying for it this time? And I was like, sure, that's fine. She's like, yeah, I'm just waiting for my parents, you know, they're back in Hong Kong, they're gonna send money into my account soon, so as soon as they do, you know, like, I'll pay for the next thing. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine, totally cool. And so then, guys, it pretty much went on like this for the next couple of weeks, you know, like, I would see her several times a week, and I would end up paying for everything. And dude, this was like still the first month that I arrived, you know, like, I didn't even get my first paycheck at this point, you know. I was literally living off of, you know, the little bit of savings that I took with me to Korea, and I was, you know, calculating my finances, and it's like, dude, like, my biggest bill so far is this girl that I'm spending all this money on. And you know, like, at the end of the day, guys, like, I don't really mind that I'm spending the money. I mean, I do, but it was more important to me that it felt like she didn't respect me. I was paying for the bills, which I didn't mind, but she didn't even offer to pay the next bill ever. You know, there was like one time, like a couple weeks later, when the bill came, and I was saying, okay, let's just see if she'll ask, okay? Before I, you know, offer to pay it, or before we even say anything, let's just see if she says anything. So the bill was there, sitting on the table, and it was like an awkward silence, and I'm like, okay, so any minute now, she's gonna say something. And it pretty much just went on like that for 30 seconds until finally I was like, well, yeah, should we just get out of here? And she's like, yeah, let's go. And again, dude, like, she didn't even offer to pay. And I was like, do you want to Dutch pay, you know, this time? And she was like, oh, actually, you know, I'm still waiting, you know, to get the money into my account. My parents didn't send me anything. I'm like, well, it's been 3 weeks. Like, how have you been surviving since then? Yeah, I know, they're running late, you know, they should send me, you know, some money next week though. And I was just like, okay, I mean, you have your own apartment, you know, you're going to the most expensive school in the city. I mean, you don't have any money to even like buy lunch or even split the lunch bill? No. So yeah, guys, I mean, even though I was paying for everything, I still really liked parts of her personality, and I was still pretty invested into the relationship, and you know, I thought that I really liked this girl. Fast forward maybe like a week later, she invites me to hang out with her roommate and her roommate's boyfriend, and I assumed, okay, so it'll be like a double date. I meet up with her that week, and you know, it's night, we're going to this like lantern festival or something, some kind of like festival, I forget exactly what it was, but you know, we had a great time. We went out to the bars, we bar hopped, you know, we got dinner together. Speaking of dinner, guys, it was at that time that I realized, you know, like, maybe this girl isn't who I thought she was. The dinner went fine, you know, mind you. I was getting along great with her friend. I was getting along great with her friend's boyfriend. You know, we were laughing, we were having a good time. And then whenever the bill came, you know, Sarah, the girl that I'm dating, codenamed Sarah, she excused herself to go to the bathroom, and her friends, they excused themselves as well. We all got up, and I assumed, okay, it's time to go. I guess we're gonna split the bill, you know, like half and half. But for some like strange reason, her roommate and her roommate's boyfriend, they like skadooshed out of there. Like, they walked really fast outside of the restaurant, and I was like, what does that mean? They already exited, so what does that mean? I'm supposed to pay the bill? And you know, like, she's still like at the bathroom, probably freshening up, and you know, I'm left there with the bill, and the guy is like saying, so it's gonna be this much money. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. I'm standing there at the cash register. I pull out my wallet. I'm just like, I guess I'm paying for the whole bill. I mean, like, I wouldn't mind if I had to pay for it and they'd pay me back. I mean, but it was a decent amount of money. It was like over $100. And then whenever I went outside, you know, her roommate and her roommate's boyfriend, they ran up to me like, oh, Terry, you paid for the bill. Oh, thank you. You didn't have to do that. We'll get you next time. And I'm like, you know, I'm a nice guy. So I was like, it's fine. You know, it's totally cool. And then Sarah comes out of the restaurant. She's like, hey, did you pay for the bill? I'm like, yeah. I mean, well, I figured, you know, you guys went out, so I thought, you know, maybe I'll get it this time, you know? She's like, oh, that's so nice of you. And you know, like, she does this like cute little smile to her friend, you know, her roommate, and her roommate smiles back. And I was just like thinking, like, well, what is that? What was that? Come on, like, did you guys plan this, or what's going on? So it was at this point, you know, I realized, dang, dude, like, I'm spending way too much money on this girl, and she's not really paying for anything. So the next time we met up, I decided to have kind of a serious talk with her, and I just wanted to explain to her, like, I really enjoy dating you. You know, you're really nice. You know, I love texting you all day. You know, we hold hands when we're walking down the street. You know, we kiss each other goodbye. To me, it felt like a real relationship. And if it was a real relationship, you know, I imagine that the two of us should respect each other. So to me, yeah, it wasn't really that big of a deal that my finances were going down the drain that month, but it more bothered me that I was dating this girl who I felt like I liked and I was invested in, but it felt like she wasn't invested in the relationship and she didn't really like me. And so the next time I met with her, I, you know, sat her down and, you know, we were at a cafe and I was telling her like, you know, Sarah, I really like you. I like spending time with you, but, you know, I'm just a teacher, you know, like I don't make really good money, you know, I make enough for me and I can save up a little bit. And, you know, part of the reason I came here was to save up a little bit of money, you know? I mean, I don't even know how much I've spent this month and I haven't even gotten my first paycheck. I really like hanging out with you, but, you know, can we work on, you know, splitting the bills, you know, from now on? And I think she understood what I meant. You know, she said, oh yeah, I know, I'm so sorry, Terry. You've been paying for like everything and I know. Okay, let me get this for you, okay? And she paid for the bill for our little lunch that we got at the cafe. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, this is a good start. You know, we're getting somewhere. At least she's acknowledging, you know, what I'm going through and how I feel. So when I went back home that time, I was feeling good. I was thinking like I made progress in this relationship, you know, things are going places, you know, things will be fine. So things were good, you know, I was happy, I was doing well, and you know, the end of the month comes, you know, I get my paycheck, and yeah, you know, I took a pretty big hit with my finances, you know, but I got paid and I still was able to save a little bit of money that month despite spending so much. So you'd imagine things were going good, right? You'd imagine that everything was just smooth sailing from here. Well, it wasn't, okay? Because fast forward 1 week later, my cousin on my mom's side of the family, she calls me and she says, Terry, hey, you know, I'm gonna be coming down to Busan, you know, with my boyfriend. We're gonna be driving down. Let's hang out. And you know, she lives in a city a little bit up north, so she was gonna be making a decently long drive to hang out in Busan for a night. And I was thinking to myself, okay, yeah, I can take a bus over to Busan. It's not that far. I mean, if we're gonna be there, hey, why don't we hang out with my girlfriend as well? You know, it can be like a double date. So I got off the phone, I was excited, you know, I texted Sarah, I was like, hey, my cousin's coming down this weekend, how about we hang out with her and her boyfriend this time? And Sarah was like, oh yeah, that sounds like fun, I can't wait to meet her. So yeah, I was excited, you know, I was looking forward to the weekend, you know, I plowed through the work week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
It's Friday, gotta get down on Friday.
You know, I was excited. This was going to be the highlight of my week. And that's basically how it was every week, you know? Going over to Busan to hang out with Sarah, that was the highlight of my week every week for like the first month or two that I was in Korea. Anyway, so fast forward to the night of, my cousin, you know, meets me in Busan. I'm with Sarah, we're at Busante, we're at her university. She picks us up in her boyfriend's car, we get in, we're driving, we're having fun, we're smiling, you know, we can't wait to get to dinner and, you know, have a couple of drinks, loosen up and just hang out. But then my cousin, you know, she speaks fluent Korean because she's from my mother's side, so she speaks Korean, and Sarah, she speaks Korean as well. And my cousin asks Sarah, she says in Korean, she says, so how long have you guys been dating? And Sarah, now I couldn't speak fluent Korean at the time, and Sarah knew that. I mean, she knew like I wasn't fluent, and I'm not even fluent now, but I'm a lot better now than I was then. But even then, I was good enough that I could understand what they were talking about. And so when my cousin asked Sarah, how long have you guys been dating? Sarah replied with, in Korean, she said, oh, we're just friends, you know, we're not dating, we haven't really gone out or anything, yeah, we're just friends. And then me, you know, after hearing that, I was like, oh my God, like, how could she do that to me? How could she say that to my cousin? You know, like, after everything that's happened, we're just friends? Like, seriously? And so me, you know, I felt awkward as hell. I just looked out the window, pretended like I was a dumb foreigner, and I pretended like I didn't understand, when really I did. My cousin, she looked at me, I was looking out the window, I didn't even want to make eye contact. She like looked at me and she was like, oh, 그렇군요. She's like, is that so? My cousin played it off cool. You know, thank God she didn't make it any more awkward than it already was. But after that, dude, that was a total mood killer, you know? Like, we're just friends? Like, I get it, you know? Like, maybe we've only been dating for like a month or two, but I mean, we're just friends. I mean, do you hold hands with your guy friends when you walk down the street in front of everybody? I mean, do you kiss your guy friends goodnight? I mean, do you spend several days a week with them every week for 2 months? Do you let your guy friends pay for every meal? You know, and just treat you to everything? I mean, if this is what kind of guy friends you have, then I mean, hang out with them, you know? Like, why am I spending time with you? And so that just, you know, ruined my mood for the rest of the night. And when we went out to dinner, you know, I had to pretend that I was semi-comfortable, even though, like, I felt like hell. I felt like shit. And, you know, along with our dinner, we got some drinks, you know, and I was drinking a lot that night because I was so upset and I was so hurt by what Sarah had said, and, you know, I guess the revelation of her true feelings. And so after dinner, we went to a noraebang, you know, Korean karaoke. We sang some songs, we ordered more soju, we got more drunk, and, you know, I took more shots than I should have, and I got super drunk, and basically the night ended with me, you know, singing a lot of songs, probably really bad. I was so drunk that my cousin actually called a taxi, you know, for me to go home because, you know, I wasn't in a good state to get home by myself. So from what she told me, she gave Sarah a ride back home, and I took a taxi all the way back from Busan to Gime. It was like 40 or 50 bucks, you know, it was a long ride. But yeah, guys, the next day I went to work. I was pretty depressed. I was feeling crappy, and, you know, I didn't text Sarah all day. I didn't text her for several days, and she didn't text me. So she must have gotten the vibe, you know, that I wasn't into this, and I was hurt. So then Friday rolls around, you know, and I finally decide to text her, you know, because it's Friday, and, you know, it's about the time that I would normally go over to hang out with her and spend the weekend, you know, hanging out. I text her first and I said, "Hey, how's it going?" You know, just a casual text. And she messaged me back. She said, "Hey, how are you feeling? Winky face. You were so drunk the other night." You know, I'm still, you know, not really in the mood to be cute or anything because I want her to acknowledge how I'm feeling. So I text her back saying, "Yeah, you know, I was pretty drunk, but I'm feeling much better now." And then she says, "Good, I'm glad. It was so cute seeing you so drunk." And, you know, I just figured, okay, it looks like she's just gonna play this off as if it never happened and keep treating me the exact same, even though, what am I? I'm just being played with, and you're not even gonna acknowledge the fact that, you know, you think of me as just a friend after everything that's happened. So then I decided to just, you know, out with it, you know, texted her and I said, "What even was I to you? What did you think of me? What did you think that our relationship was this whole time?" And then she actually sent a response pretty quickly, and she said, "Well, I mean, we never really were officially going out or anything. I mean, you never actually did say, 'Hey, I want to be official with you, boyfriend and girlfriend.'" And okay, yeah, I get that. Guys, before you say anything, yeah, I understand. I never actually asked her, "Hey, do you want to be my girlfriend," in those words, okay? I never said that, and I probably should have. No, I definitely should have. In Korea, there's like a big custom where you're not official until you physically say, "Will you be my girlfriend?" So yeah, I get that. That was a big mistake on my part, but you gotta understand, she's very westernized, okay? She's not Korean, okay? She grew up in Hong Kong going to international schools. She's traveled around the world. She knows what Western dating is like, and, you know, for me and the relationships that I've been in, I've never really been one to say, "Do you want to be my girlfriend?" You know, that was always a little bit lovey-dovey to me. I mean, now I kind of understand why that's important, but I never really said that in the relationships that I've been in before, and I never really felt like I had to if you were connecting and clicking enough with that person. To me, if you hold hands with someone and introduce them to your best friend and their boyfriend, and you go on double dates, and you let me pay for the bill, kiss each other goodnight before you leave, if you do everything that a normal couple does together, then that tells me that we're more than friends. Maybe I never said that I want to be exclusive with you, but I mean, what does that say about your character? What do you mean, like, we're just friends? I mean, do you kiss other friends on the mouth like that? You know, whenever you hang out with them, you let your friends pay the bills all the time? You hold hands with them when you're walking down the street? Like, just exactly what kind of relationship was this where you thought it was okay to just think of me as a friend? I didn't lash out at her, but I just wrote a really long text message explaining how I felt and how I felt like I was used. Honestly, at this point, I didn't even care about the money. I just cared about how I was being used and you know, how much that hurt me. I don't know, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, I can see why I fell into this so obliviously. You know, I was new in Korea. I was new in a city that I have never been to, a country I have never stepped foot on, and at the end of the day, I was lonely, you know? My coworkers weren't very friendly, you know, I lived kind of in the countryside, so there was no one I could really hang out with around me, and you know, I realized at this boiling point, you know, when all my frustrations really came out and I was texting her, and I really realized that I'm an idiot. I wasted my first 2 months in Korea with this girl, and it was all for nothing. Like I said, like I don't really care that much about the money because I thought maybe at least I can be in a good relationship and I can be with someone that I care about and I love being with and I love hanging out with this person. You know, so to me it wasn't really that much the money that I cared about, but it was the relationship, you know, it was what I was potentially gonna be able to get back from this. I thought I could end up being happy, you know? And when you realize that, you know, you were kind of used for 2 months, and when you could have been out there making friends, when you could have been out there doing something else, you know, putting your time to good use. I wasted so much money, I wasted so much time, and overall, I got played. Basically, her response to all of this was, well, you know, I never really thought of you as anything more than a friend. I mean, you're really nice, but, you know, I don't think I like you as anything more. I mean, maybe I could have, but now, no, I definitely can't. You're definitely not someone I could ever date. At that point, you know, I was like, how can you be this much of a horrible person, and you can't even realize the extent of what you've done, how much you've hurt me. Like, no remorse, like you can't even admit, not even an apology on your part whatsoever. So yeah, basically after all that, I just calmly replied with, well, if that's how you feel about everything, then whatever. I'm glad I never asked you out officially, and I'm glad I never actually dated you, because if this is what it's like to be your friend, then I don't want to know what it's like to be your boyfriend. And so after that, I said, please don't ever contact me again. I'm sorry I wasted your time. After that, I realized, you know, I need to pick myself back up, and I started going to language exchanges every week, and I started to really make some friends and, you know, develop good, solid relationships, and forget about trying to date someone, you know, like, I mean, there's better things that I could be spending my time on. But yeah, guys, so that was my story of how I dated a quote-unquote gold digger when I first arrived in Korea, and I'm sorry this video was so long and maybe a lot of rambling, but I just really wanted to tell you the full details and explain to you why I felt used and why I felt betrayed. And I don't think just because I didn't officially say, do you want to be my girlfriend, I don't think that excuses the fact that we spent all that time together. You know, we held hands, we kissed each other when we said goodbye and hello, and amongst other things, and we did things that only couples do. And to me, that says that we are in a relationship and that we like each other and we care about each other. And to me, you don't have to say, will you be my girlfriend in that case? Because you already know. I don't know, guys. I mean, let me know what you think down below in the comments. I'm open to the criticism. I know that was my mistake on this part, but still, I mean, regardless, you know, you gotta have some common sense at some point and realize when to draw the line. You are friends with this person, or are you just using them? And I think for me, it was the latter. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching if you made it to the end. I'm sorry if this kind of, you know, is depressing. You know, I mean, I'm fine now. It's just, you know, this girl was someone that was special to me, and she was special for, you know, certain reasons. It was a lot of first really special memories for me, and that's probably why I was more blinded in this relationship, and I really kept trying to you know, make something out of it. So yeah, I know I was an idiot to keep it going, but yeah, what can I do? You live and you learn. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this super long video. I hope you guys are having a great day, and until next time, I will see you guys in the next video. Good night.
Well, I'm in need. Yes, it's a trifling friend indeed. Oh, she's a gold digger.